Welcome back to the ROKER Report Extra podcast. You join us after 3 wins in a row, which sounds quite nice, doesn't it? After 2 drab league draws to begin the season, we've dispatched Accrington in the League Cup. Of course, we've dispatched Portsmouth, and last night, at the time of recording, today is Wednesday, we beat Rochdale, and they've all felt the wrath of Charlie Wyke and Aidan McGeady. So it sets us up for a lovely Saturday home game, a second one in a row, believe it or not, against AFC Wimbledon this weekend. And joining us this week is our most popular guest from last term, the lovable Cockney geezer that he is, and long-standing director and co-founder of AFC Wimbledon, Ivor Heller. How are you doing, Ivor? Are you well?
I'm doing all right, thank you very much. But I'm just feeling a little bit jealous of your recounting of your season so far. It's a little bit different crowds.
You'd be surprised if you spoke to some of our fans. Some of us have been down in the doldrums, but I suppose it's the way football is, isn't it? You're never happy unless you win in every game.
Well, precisely. I mean, we had the escape from Alcatraz last year. That was, the greatest game, and all the songs and the chanting and everything that goes with it. And we've not had a particularly easy start to this season.
No.
So I'm not worried at the moment or anything like that. But when you hear someone tell us, "Well, they haven't been beaten yet," you got two draws, 3 wins, boom. That's massive to me.
Yeah. I mean, we'll start from the top. Last time we spoke was back in February. I think at the time you were rock bottom of the league, where we were going through like a bit of a sticky patch, but still up and around the top. But I remember at the time you spoke with absolutely loads of confidence that you could stay up, and you did.
Yeah.
What changed in the final few months of the campaign?
Well, it was the players got some belief. We'd got a new manager in, Wally Downs. He'd managed to get the players. He simplified the game for them, and he managed to get them, fighting as a unit. And boy, did they fight! We brought in a couple of really good players, and we had a goalkeeper who's now playing in the Premier League. We had a left back, Steve Seddon, who's now playing in the Championship. And those guys were characters and leaders mixed in with our current crop of leaders and characters. And all of a sudden, we became an immovable object. I mean, I thought we were a little bit unlucky when we were up at your place. We nullified Sunderland that day, and we got caught with a bit of a sucker punch, really. So, that's what he managed to do. We lost 1 in our last 12, and I think we all know how difficult that is to do in League One. And and we stayed up by 3 goals.
Yeah, it was level on points at the end, wasn't it? But you didn't lose in the last 7, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, something like that. But one in the last 12 is the stat I like. I can't remember exactly what game it was. It was such a long season. You start to you see it all kind of molds into one a little bit, doesn't it? So there's a long way to go in this season. And I personally think we'll be all right. But I wouldn't I?
Yeah, no, ages of time. But I think you're right in what you were saying. I think, admittedly, when you came to the stadium last year, I think because of the position where you were at and because of the run of form you were on, I know you just beat West Ham at that point, but you were really unlucky not to grab or be another one of those teams that grabbed a point. I think most Sunderland fans would agree with that. And I don't think anyone was that surprised you stayed up after that. No. It was a close-knit relegation battle. I mean, we thought it was quite close at the top, but I mean, you had everyone from 11th downwards could have got relegated that season.
Well, the stat that I really love from last year, and I'm not a massive statter really, but the one that I really loved was like with 15 games to go, we were 10 points away from our nearest rivals, and we were 10 goals worse off than our nearest rivals. And so there we were, rock bottom like that. And the teams that were currently in 12th and 13th both got relegated.
Yeah, it was bizarre.
From 15 games in, I think it was Scunthorpe managed to get another 4 points only. I mean, that's just stunning. It was stunning, but, that was last season though. So, now we're looking forward to this season. And, again, I know we touched on it last time we talked, but, if you'd have turned around to me and said, 17, 18 years ago, oh, Ivor, by the way, there's going to come a week in your football life where you're going to be going to Ipswich and then you're going to be going to Sunderland all in the same week. I'd have said, you go and have a lay down in a dark room, mate. And instead of that, there we are. Ipswich the other night, and we were highly unfortunate not to get something out of that game.
Hugely.
And now we're
Hugely.
going to come to you lot and see if we can worry you for a little bit.
I think you've touched on it before that on paper you have had a tough start of the season. I think it's 3 of the first 4 that you've lost, but last night was incredibly unlucky. There was, I think, anyone who doesn't know, the Ipswich game, you were 1-0 up. I think they equalised in the 81st and scored in the 94th, 95th. And then when you look through your games that you've played so far this season, and it is really early for both of us, but when you look through the games you've had this season, it looks like most of the games have been quite close. So in reality, have you just been a little bit unlucky?
I think we've been a bit unlucky, but we got out battled by Rotherham in the first half, and they're a good side, Rotherham. I expect them to go close this year. Yeah, we got out battled by them in the first half, and then when we got our game together, we equalised. It looked like we were the more likely, and then all of a sudden, wallop, they score right before the end. We switch off just for a minute. So I think we've got a very young team. I mean, and again, I'm sure we'll probably touch on this at some stage, but we on the first day of the season, we had the youngest squad in the league. And younger than Bolton playing all their kids.
Yeah, I read about that actually. I read your average age is actually below Bolton, who've just literally cancelled the game because their players are too young to play 3 games in a week. You come in under that. Yeah.
Well, I don't think we're under that every single match, but we're not far off it. That is for sure. Because you put one older player in, it doesn't change it to that degree. And that is it's true, and it also goes to show that at the end of the day, I feel so sorry for both Bury and Bolton. I really do, but that feels like that doesn't feel quite right to me. What's gone on there with the Bolton thing?
No,
them doing it and not informing the league and their opposition first is that's a peculiar one to me, and I'm surprised at whoever made that decision. Maybe it was because they knew they'd be told, no, sorry, you have to fulfil the fixture.
Yeah.
So they've done it. But how they bring parity back into the league now for everybody, I don't know. Doncaster didn't play them last night, and now they go to Lincoln on Saturday, and Lincoln did play. That just doesn't feel right. It's not right. But
no, it's odd the reasons they did it. Very, very odd the reasons they did it. And I suppose it's like you said before. I know that there's problems going on with them and Bury, but it is a strange situation that they just cancelled it. Like, I kind of understand it in one way. I'd have to be in a Bolton shoes to truly get it and have a full opinion on it. But it is detrimental to, for example, to Lincoln, because they've played three games in a week now, whereas Bolton's only played 2.
Yeah. No, it just feels really wrong, and I wish the EFL would get everything sorted, but I think it's easy for us to say. I wish they would. I think it's probably easier said than done, because there's some very strange stuff going on there. But there you go. We're not worried about that from our own point of view over this weekend. We're just going to come up to Sunderland and we'll have a night out on a Friday night, or I might on my own in Durham, and then we'll see what happens on Saturday. Thoroughly looking forward to it.
Now, we talked about the results that you've had, and 3 of the first 4. It's been a tough start. You've played some tough games as well. You mentioned Rotherham, Ipswich, but despite the results, it looks like your new signings have hit the ground running. I think Luke O'Neill's been doing really well. Right wing back, he's been playing. He's got 2 goals. You've got Nesta Guinness-Walker scored last night as well. One thing I was quite interested in, I did a League One preview at the beginning of this season, and I noticed that Wimbledon pick up a lot of players from non-league, but yet they seem to fit in really well into League One with relative ease. You've got Pinnock, you've also got Joe Pigott on top of that as well, and obviously Nesta Guinness-Walker. Obviously O'Neill came from Gillingham, but a lot of the signings came from lower level leagues, let alone lower level divisions. But what is it you look for in a player when you sign them? Obviously you look at the talent, but do you look at a specific personality to go with that?
Yeah, well, I think that's really down to the coaching team. It's certainly got nothing to do with me. but yes, they're looking for people that will fit in. They're looking for people that they've got to be athletic enough to be able to challenge for a place in a League One football team.
Yeah.
So they've got to be pretty. They've got to have the raw materials. It's no good. If they haven't got the raw materials, they're never going to make it. It is as simple as that, really. So if they've got the raw materials, if they're prepared to come and have a go as well, they've got to want to do it, because it's a big thing. You only get the chance usually at this level to fail once or twice if you're very lucky. But generally, if you don't make it, you don't make it. So I think it's very, very, it's a very brave thing, both for the players and for the club, because you throw enough stones in the water and so on. So some of them eventually you might find one that floats. You never know. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get these guys to become bona fide League One players and be capable of going on. And that is something that is, I think, particularly if I can just talk about Nesta Guinness-Walker. Nesta, I believe, he's come from level 7. He was playing for the Met Police last year, and he's only 18 years old, and boy, oh boy, I think he's going to be a real prospect. I really do. Really exciting stuff.
I've noticed there's been a bit of a change in formation as well. I know that you played slightly different in the League Cup, but it's 3-5-2 he's going with. Is that a new formation, isn't it? He's tried something new there.
No, not really. I mean, our greatest successes in the back half of last season, those last 12 games were all 3-5-2 or 5-3-2, depending on which way you want to look at it, because of obviously the two things switch. So, I think that the 3-5-2 it suits our players, it suits our system, and that's the way that we're setting up now. I'll be very surprised if we change that again in a hurry. That game in the League Cup, we did start off 4-3-3. He tried to go 4-3-3, and quite frankly, we're okay with that going forward. We're not so good when they're coming back at us. So I think we'll pretty much be sticking to 3-5-2 or 5-3-2.
I noticed there was one player that left, obviously, this summer, which was Tony Civic. How disappointed were you to lose him?
Well, Toby had been with the club since he was a kid. Really, really liked him. He's a smashing, athletic, great prospect. We thought that if we could have kept him with us for a little bit longer, who knows where he'd have landed up. But Barnsley came in for him. They offered us, decent money, and we were in a position where, once it's got into the player's head, you can't turn them then, really. So, Toby goes there with our blessing. We want him to succeed. We won't stand in the way of players that can go make a difference to their lives by going, getting a 4 or 5 year deal at a championship club. You stand in the way of that, you're not doing them much of a justice, are you, really? So, we reluctantly had to agree to let him go. But, good luck to him. The money we got from that managed, we were able to get a couple of other players in as a consequence, and that's a really good thing.
But aside from himself, he managed to keep together most of the squad and add to it. I know, obviously, James Hansen went, but he only came in the January. But aside from that, you kept most of the squad together, didn't you?
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, we had 2 loans last year that were just unbelievable business for us. Aaron Ramsdale, who is, in my opinion, he's going to play for England. But he's now playing in the Premier League for Bournemouth, and he's a fantastic goalkeeper. Keep an eye out on him. I think he's going to go all the way. He made a massive difference to us. And then there was Steve Seddon, who we got from Birmingham. And he's now playing in their first team. They're playing with a very young side as well, and he's in the starting lineup. And they were both magnificent characters. They were absolutely perfect, and I know that if they could have done, both of them would have stayed with Wimbledon because they loved it with us. But Premier League and Championship. That says it all. That was a big part of why we managed the Great Escape. They pulled things together brilliantly for us, and we were privileged to have them and to have been a part of their careers. And so losing them has made it more difficult. But like you say, Luke O'Neill, Callum O'Reilly, these are fantastic signings for us. Absolutely amazing signings for us. And I think we've got a real chance. I think we've got a chance of doing quite well. I don't think we're going to do much more than do well.
I took you to finish 14th, so I'm confident.
Okay.
You're confident. You should be all right.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. I'm never wrong.
You're never wrong. Never ever wrong. I like that.
If in case anyone from the FA is listening, it's me saying this, not yourself either, but you came up against the franchise in the League Cup. Previously, obviously, you were fined for referring to them as just MK, which I think, from my perspective, is absolutely fine. So how pleased were you on the day that you came up against them in the League Cup that the scoreboard and the programme printer decided that they were both going to break on the same day?
Well, I can only tell the truth. The scoreboard is genuinely broken and has been broken for some time. So that was a genuine one, and you don't have to print a programme anymore for the League Cup. We don't have to print a programme for any game. Actually, is the rule. So we knew we wouldn't have a very big crowd that night. We had a lot of fans that preferred not to go to the first round of the Carabao Cup, and therefore we knew it would be a loss-making deal to print a programme, and that was it. It was a business decision, and we took it on a business basis, and I don't think anyone anyway could argue with that, and we got on with the evening as best we could.
When it comes to, I think, at this level, and I don't mean to sound, you don't want to sound like ignorant of the division, because we've been in here a year now, but I suppose it is different to what I'm used to. But a lot of things like that come down to business decisions. There's a lot of things you have to think about at this level, isn't there? It's not like the Premiership where you can afford to, lose a couple of £1,000 on things like programs and fixing scoreboards and things like that. Sometimes at this level, you have to kind of look after the little things as well, because it's just not the same as even the Championship and the Premiership. There is quite a big gulf, isn't there, when it comes to stuff like that?
Oh, it's 100% true. I mean, this is, again, I'm going to come back and just loosely touch on the Bury and the Bolton situation. Let's say that both of those clubs don't make it. That would cost us as a club, well in excess of £100,000. We can't afford to lose £100,000. Our budget's worked out over 23 home league matches. If you take two of those out, that's kind of 8% of your home matches gone. Wow. We haven't got the capacity to cover that loss. It's a horrendous situation. So, every single club in our division, I believe, has to look after the pennies, or things can spiral out of control so easily, because everybody wants to spend money. Everybody in football wants to spend money. Sometimes you just got to go, no, we won't do it that way. We will do it this way. Why? It's cheaper. We can afford it better. Just has to be done that way.
I see a lot of the struggles with, obviously, I think a lot of people, a lot of Sunderland fans these days follow Andy Holt, obviously, at Accrington as well. And a lot of the stuff you see him tweeting about, like, just where he has to save money and change things. And I know people have their opinions on Andy. I think he's a good guy. I think a lot of the things he does, though, just like changing the pitch, it's actually quite nice to see how proud he was of his pitch. Like, you don't really see that at the Premier League. It just happens. The pitch is just there, it's just fixed, and people are just paid to make it like a bowling green. Like Accrington, I was down at Accrington in the League Cup, and the pitch was genuinely lovely. Like, it looked absolutely cracking, and you could see his photos. He was dead proud of it, and it's like, there's something quite endearing about that in this level, and it's been nice in that. And I think we spoke about it last time about the whole. This division feels a little bit more community centered, and like each club you go to has a community, and it is. The people that go to the matches genuinely care about it, none more so than Wimbledon, after obviously the history that you've had.
Yeah, I mean, that community side of it is, I think that the differences and the big trick, and the thing that I love about this level in particular, is we are a football club. with a club, if you belong to a club, you belong to something. You belong to an association, and I think that's the difference between us and a lot of the bigger clubs. Is that we are genuinely we like each other. We're part of a club. We don't all get on. We're not all bosom buddies and everything, but we all, we've got a common bond, and we belong to our football club. And I really do think that is something that is really special and unique, because there's also the tribal element, and
Yeah.
Sunderland have got a massive tribe, and they're a great tribe. When we played Sunderland at our place last year, that was it was an amazing day for everybody. We all really enjoyed ourselves, and the Sunderland fans that came down, I know they went away and they went, actually, we really enjoyed ourselves today. They were made to feel welcome, had a great time. You don't get that in the Premier League, in my opinion. You just don't. You don't get the interaction at all levels of a club that you can get at the smaller clubs. Accrington and clubs like us have got that in common, and we have to use that. We have to use that because the community buys into us, and we buy into the community. It's a joint thing. It's really important that everybody gets that.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think, I've noticed that an awful lot at this level. You go to clubs, and I mean, like we talked about Accrington before. I was at Accrington, turned up at a pub at about 5:00, and the barmaid was delighted. She was like, "Oh, Sunderland are coming, brilliant! Fabulous for us. Everyone comes in, and it gives us a bit of money in the coffers because you'll bring a couple of thousand up." I think we brought 1,000 up, as it was the first round of the League Cup. But it was like everyone in there knew everyone. Every time an Accrington fan walked through the door, the barmaid knew the next guy that came along. She knew Dave and Steve and Sheila. She knew like everyone coming through the door. And there is something quite nice about that. I know the promised land for someone like Sunderland is getting back to the Premier League, because it's what we're used to, and our stature, I suppose, suits it. But there is something so nice about going to these away games in this league, and I've genuinely enjoyed my past year in terms of going to the games. It's a bit more of a day out than it is just going to a big massive stadium, paying £5 for a hot dog or a pie, whatever it may be, £7 for a coffee. There's something that's just quite nice about this level when it comes to community, and you can see what each club means to each community, and it's really nice. And I'm sure, like we've said before, Wimbledon, 100% because of I suppose your recent history, probably means more to the community than most clubs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the other thing that I like when we played Sunderland is you came in our bar. Sunderland were in our bar, and we would be in that's the sort of thing that just doesn't happen in places.
No,
and should happen more. I want to meet Sunderland fans. I want to have a laugh. I want to be and I did not at any point feel intimidated by the Sunderland fans that were around us. They just had a giggle with us, and we had a giggle back with them, and that was it. I had the microphone, which kind of helped, pushing this little fella around, that's for sure.
Did you meet Stewart last year? I'm guessing you did.
Yes, yeah. Met all of them. Yeah. They looked after us royally at both places. It was really, very, very nice. And I think they've got the club's best interests at heart. I think they have, anyway, as far as I can see.
Yeah.
And the only thing is that I don't know really. I thought you had it in your own hands most of the season last year.
Yeah,
it was a bit of a shock when you didn't get up, but that's football for you, isn't it? It certainly does hurt.
I think you can't take anything for granted, and I think we kind of have to go up this year as how we feel as a fan base. But talking of Stewart, it's quite. One question I wanted to sort of ask you about that is, I think Stewart, obviously he was being at Eastleigh beforehand, so he's kind of used to much lower than this level. And obviously I've interviewed Stewart I think twice now, and I've got a lot of time for Stewart. But do you envy someone operating a League One club the size of Sunderland? Or do you kind of realise what a tough job he's kind of got on? Do you think like the expectations of a club like Sunderland?
Yeah, no, I remember talking to the guys when we played you at our place, and I can remember thinking they have got such a monster job on. And we all get a little bit hurt sometimes by people getting upset and angry about stuff, and you think it's an overreaction to this and an overreaction to that. we've got a very vocal fan base and so on. But I just remember thinking, oh my, we feel like this with our fan base. Imagine what it's like when you've got 40,000 people on your back. That's a harsh environment to operate in. But I will say this, from what I can see, the club is run on very nice lines. We got welcomed beautifully up there last year, and I'm looking forward to the same welcome again on this weekend. I'm absolutely thrilled to be coming back. Thrilled that we played Ipswich last night. That was that's a great stadium. I love that stadium there, and long may it go on. And I fully expect to be playing Sunderland many more times. Although we get our new ground next year, and then eventually we'll see you in the Championship, I guess.
Yes, hopefully.
And then who knows where?
Yeah, who knows? You came last year at the Stadium to the Stadium of Light. I actually missed that game. It was one of the only games I missed last year. But how was your first visit? You've spoke a little bit on it, you've touched on it, but was it a good night? Did it end up well?
Oh yeah, it was yeah. No, I mean we were welcomed beautifully. We had a right good laugh. I mean there were certain things that I found really hilarious. The ballroom chairs. I think the ballroom chairs are worth more than our ground. They're all inlaid with they've got Sunderland logos actually, worked in wood, and I've never seen anything like that. They were magnificent. I took photographs of them because I couldn't believe it. And then they had the butter, and they had Sunderland logos on the butter, and I was really impressed with that.
It's the little things, isn't it?
You don't get at most grounds. It's one of the great things. We've mentioned Accrington several times, but at Accrington you get a good old fashioned Iceland buffet, and if you don't like it, it always cracks me up. It was brilliant. No, we were welcomed beautifully. We had a right good laugh.
So just to kind of move back to obviously to Wimbledon, I always name 3 players we should watch every weekend and put that on the site. And I've chose 3 players. I chose Piggott, I've chose O'Neill, and I chose Scott Wagstaff. But who would you say are the players that someone need to look out for on Saturday?
Well, the player you should I mean, I definitely wouldn't hesitate one single bit in remembering that young Nestor, Nestor Guinness Walker is, I think he's still 17 actually. You'll see him play on Saturday, and remember that because he's a good player. He's a really good player, and he will develop further. So I think you should watch out for him. Paul Callenby at the back, another young player who's an incredible centre back for his age, and the goalkeeper and all, Nathan Trott. We've got him from West Ham on loan. He's starting to shape up, and I think he'll be busy on Saturday. With a bit of luck, he'll keep you out, and then we'll see what happens. So yeah, no, you're right about those players. They're good boys, but players that you wouldn't have heard of and you wouldn't have seen before, those are probably the ones.
And which players from Sunderland's side are you a little bit worried about?
Well, Charlie White, because I loved him when he was with us. Charlie, I thought he was a tremendous prospect and a good player, and I thought that he, I always thought he would develop, and he did, didn't he?
He's really starting to find his feet. Really, it took him a year, but really starting to find his feet.
Boy, I like him. He's strong and tough and uncompromising. He reminds me of Mick Hartford in some ways. He carries himself a bit like Mick Hartford used to, and he was a great footballer, Mick Hartford. A tough man. You wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of Mick too much. And Charlie,
no, not at all.
That same kind of look to him. Same kind of. Great player, and obviously McGeady, mentioned him earlier. Wow, I mean, having him play for you is magnificent, and they're about the only 2 I know at the moment. I think. I can't remember the rest of them because I concentrate so much on our team. I don't think
it's the right way to do it, though. It's the right way to do it. You talked about Mick Hartford, another Sunderland boy as well, and same with Charlie's not Sunderland, he's Middlesbrough, but both Northeast boys as well. But Mick Hartford's another person I've interviewed a few years ago now, and he's a tough man. tough man. I wouldn't.
Brilliant.
Oh, cracking fella. Sunderland through and through. Unfortunately, he came to the stadium like last year and came away with a point for Luton, but I won't hold it against him too much.
No. You wouldn't tell him anyway, would you? Let's face it.
Not to his face.
I saw Mick in the summer, and I was at a golf day with an old Crazy Gang reunion, and I was very privileged to be invited along to that. And you see all the boys there and the old Wimbledon players, and there were 30 of them together that day. From Vinnie Jones to players that you'd have never even heard of.
Yeah.
It was absolutely incredible, and there is that long-term camaraderie around the Wimbledon team, and Mick Hartford is very much part of that. Really, what a great man he is, and I was pleased that he got his that he did well with Luton last year, and that now he's stepped upstairs. I mean, but he has a very soft spot for our club as well. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. He was there a long, long time, and I mean, me growing up, I remember Mick Hartford as a Wimbledon player. He was at Sunderland before my time. I know he'd been around a few clubs, but it was just before my time that he was at Sunderland. Me growing up in the sort of like mid to late 90s, Mick was a Wimbledon player and part of that crazy gang like Vinnie Jones. And I remember Leonardson, players like that, the quality players alongside the other players. And obviously had John Kay in the early 90s just before he came to us as well.
John Kay, blimey.
Oh, we love John Kay. We love John Kay. What a bloke.
Who else did you have who else has played for both? I can't really remember.
Played for both. That is a good shout. You've got John Kay, Mick Hartford.
Some others.
There's got to be more. There's got to be more.
At another time.
You've got me thinking about that. So, as I always do, just to finish off, score predictions for Saturday.
Well, I mean, I know that we're capable of winning against anybody, as we very nearly did against Ipswich. I think we'll take a lot out of that Ipswich game, even though it finished badly for us. And I think we're going to come up there and you're going to find it very difficult to break us down, for sure. You probably will. So we've got to score 2 to beat you 2-1. So that is going to be my score prediction.
I'll take a 2-1. I'll take a 2-1 Sunderland. I'll match you, but I'll go the other way around. And before I let you go, I've just thought of 2 modern ones. David Connolly played for
David
both.
Connolly. Yeah.
Darren Holloway played for both.
Darren Holloway. See, when you do a more, you've got better memory than me, but you're a lot younger than me, so you should have.
Only as old as you feel, Ivor. Only as old as you feel, but. Thanks as always for coming back on, mate. It's always really good crack.
Anytime. I do wish Sunderland very well for the season, and I wish to see all you boys up there on Saturday, and don't throw anything at the coach when we beat you.
We'll try our best. My throw's not very good anyway. Thanks, Ivor. Appreciate it.
All right, mate. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers, mate. Bye-bye.